Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony, this is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1688, written by Selfhelpkelp, vanished in sight through a flickering night. Last summer, two of my friends and I, 30s, female, were carpooling to the airport in the early hours of the morning to catch our flight. It was around 3 or 4 a.m. I was in the passenger seat, my friend was driving, and we had just picked up the third friend. We all live in the suburbs near Detroit. My friend, who was picked up last, lives only 5 or 10 minutes from the Detroit airport. We're driving down a well-lit 2-lane road. The area is well populated, and you often do see pedestrians out and about at any given hour. Anyway, as we were driving, we stopped at a red light at an intersection. Directly ahead, we see a man, looked to be in his 30s or 40s, riding a modern-day red bicycle near the edge of the road, heading in our direction. He was wearing a beanie hat, a flannel, and shorts. I don't recall his shoes, but I do remember he had a backpack on. He had longer hair that poked out from the bottom of his hat, and some facial hair from what I can recall. My friend who was driving said, "He'd better hurry, it's starting to sprinkle," which prompted me to look up from my phone and look at the man again as he was getting closer. All three of us were looking at this guy, and he was getting closer by the second. He was almost to the crosswalk directly in front of us, right under a streetlight where he started to freaking turn transparent and flicker like an old film movie on a projector. You know how sepia photos or filters look? Like warmer, muted, vintage-looking brown tones? I watched him and his bright as hell red bike turn from vibrant color to sepia in a millisecond, then instantly vanish into thin air. I instantly shot my head to the left to lock eyes with my friend. Both of us were in shock. Our eyes were wide and our mouths were open in utter disbelief. Our friend in the back seat was the first to process what had just happened and said, where the hell did he go? Did you guys see that? He turned see-through. Seriously, where did he go? What the hell? We all kinda let out some shrieks and freaked the hell out, all talking a mile a minute as we each quickly confirmed we had all seen the same sequence of events occur right before our eyes, under direct light. I had goosebumps and my eyes were welling up with tears because it gave me an urge to cry. I was just so tripped out about what I just saw. We all retold the story one by one, over and over again, all the way to the airport, and also continued to recount the experience until we got to our destination. We are all friends to this day, and we still talk about this event often. I think about that day any time I pass that intersection and intently watch any pedestrian I happen to see there. It is an experience I will never forget, and what ultimately led me down the Matrix rabbit hole. A simulation glitch is the only explanation for what occurred to us. It perplexes me to this day. Case file 1688, vanished in sight through a flickering night. I think the flickering effect is what we might call a phase change. When matter or energy changes phases, usually matter, there's a process involved. It doesn't happen to everything all at once. You know, when you boil water, it doesn't all boil away instantly. Well, unless you have insane levels of heat. But I think a similar effect applies here. I think if you're crossing over to a different universe, perhaps, even in multiverse sight, it doesn't happen instantaneously. The process takes a bit of time, especially if it involves your physical corporeal body, not just your soul. So I think you had a very, very rare glimpse at this process actually happening in real time. And it was a mega quack standard with plenty of witnesses, so that's good. No need to feel crazy. This is real, it's reality, reality's freaking weird. Case file number 1689, written by scumbagstaceysEx. The forest chill with a Doppelgänger Thrill. There's a place near me that has a nice flat 4-mile walk into a big lake, with a couple of lean-tos and a tent site on the shore of the lake. I go there half a dozen times a year or so. Each lean-to is about 300 yards apart, and the tent site is about 300 yards past the second lean-to. Each lean-to and the tent site has an outhouse, privy we call them, about 50 yards behind it, further from the lake. By the way, a lean-to is like a small shelter provided for free. This is state land, and it's very remote, and all first come first serve. I got to the trailhead about 4:30 last night, and there were no other cars. It was raining buckets. I don't care. I enjoy laying in my hammock in the rain. This was perfect for me since I knew my tent site would be open. I prefer sleeping in a hammock to the hard floor of a lean-to. After dinner and listening to the loons, I had a restful sleep. Woke up once at 3:30 or so to pee, slept for a few more hours. Woke up to the sound of heavy rain again, mixed with loon calls. I ate my breakfast and drank my coffee under my tarp while sitting in my hammock. I started breaking down camp and packing my pack. And as I was taking down my tarp, I got the sudden urge for my morning constitution. I'm stuffing my tarp into my pack and I look toward the trail that goes to the privy and I see a guy, dressed in the same color clothes as me, gray rain pants and olive raincoat. Turn off the main trail and start walking away from me towards my privy. Damn it! I need to do that. Why is this guy using my privy? I really don't want to start hiking back because walking usually loosens things up more, and I don't want to crap my pants. So I'm just standing there in the freaking rain. And I had just put my tarp away. All I could think of was someone came into one of the lean-tos late last night. Maybe his buddy was using that privy, so he had to use mine. Frick. So I'm standing there a full 15 minutes, just staring at the trail to the privy, waiting for the guy to come out so I can go. Getting dumped on with rain the entire time. Finally, I'm like, frick this, maybe I missed him come out. I walk through the woods towards the privy and go in. There is nobody there, and there is no evidence of any recent use. The pit inside is not very deep, and you can see old deposits, but nothing fresh. Well, I had to go, so I made a fresh deposit. It only took me a minute or so. I hiked out past the two lean-tos, and both were completely empty. Nothing to indicate anyone was there. Hiked out in about an hour back to the parking lot, and my car was still the only one there. When I think back on it, I never made out a face on the guy. I thought it was weird he had the exact same raincoat and rain pants as me. Mine were a mixed set from two different manufacturers. Most people with rain pants have a matching jacket. As I hiked out, I became more and more convinced that I watched myself walk to the privy, then stood there like an idiot for 15 minutes in the rain. I know I didn't just imagine it. I was low-key kind of mad that this guy was using the privy at my tent site, instead of the one at his own lean-to. Hey, would you like 1 week of early access to my weekly and monthly compilations? If so, you can join the channel or over on Patreon. Check it out. Case File 1689. The Forest Chill with the Doppelgänger Thrill. So this sounds like an incredibly peaceful habit to have. A very tranquil place to visit. I need to go hiking again. It's been too long. I mean, I hike in a local park, but it's not the same. That is very tended to. Now, in effect, I don't believe this was a doppelganger, because you didn't really feel or describe terrifying vibes, just unusual. I think you saw yourself as a ripple through time, an echo, if you will. You did see yourself as you were going to be in a few minutes, but you're only able to see yourself in the localized area, the bubble, if you will, of space-time distortion. And this did not translate into the privy, because you saw no additional deposits, which is a funny way to say what we all know it means, but yes, no additional deposits because you hadn't made it yet. You were seeing what was going to happen. You saw what has the highest probability to occur. Now, in very short time frames, it's not too difficult to predict the future, at least at the macro level. At the quantum level, forget it, impossible. There is no hidden information to predict. The universe literally materializes everything at the fundamental level in real time. There is no plan, if you will. No future set in stone. Unless we're talking about replay theory, which is a different thing entirely. Won't go in the weeds on that one, but in this case I think it was just seeing a very probable future in a localized area right in front of you. Very interesting, but nothing to fear. Now time for the quote of the day. Prote. The universe will expand. Then it will collapse back on itself. Then expand again. It will repeat this process forever. What you don't know is that when the universe expands again, everything will be as it is now. Whatever mistakes you make this time around, you will live through on your next pass. Every mistake you make, you will live through again and again forever. So my advice to you is to get it right this time around, because this time is all you have. This is a technical way to describe fate, that the universe is caught in this repeating time loop, the universe itself being constructed of time. But as we understand a time loop, it is effectively that. The universe expands, everything happens, and then it recontracts, and boom, Big Bang again, and on and on. This could be true, Personally, I think because of quantum mechanics, even if this theory is true, the big crunch as they call it, that doesn't mean that we will repeat exactly as we did this time. In fact, even though we're starting from the same parameters, things could be entirely different because nothing is solidified at the fundamental level. Now maybe this only impacts our free will, so maybe everything happens exactly the same way up until the point where sentient life with free will emerges, and then things can change. Maybe a whole new set of souls come into play, a different character set. Interesting way to think about it. But yes, if we are stuck in this continual loop, you better hope you made the best decisions and you got the best luck. Because for a lot of people, an infinite loop of horror is not fair. So I don't think it's that. But it's an interesting thought experiment nevertheless. And this was from the movie K-Pax, which is a fantastic, underrated movie. Classic. Go watch it.